What is this carved stone from an unknown Native American site with a series of piston-like grooves on one side and carved lines on the other? It's about 2 inches by 1 inch, but fragmented so parts are missing. I'm curating tools and decor, and it's being housed in a collection dedicated to the Fort Ancient culture from the Ohio River Valley, circa 500 to 600 years minimum. However, several artifacts from other cultures and time periods have been mixed in. I haven't found any other similar objects in the collection or in books on the Fort Ancient culture. However, the style of line engraving is similar to other decorative and ceremonial objects I've examined. Any ideas? That's a soapstone bullet mold, missing the other piece and dates from the American Revolutionary War. Bullet molds like this one were used to make lead musket balls. The 2 halves of the mold were put together and molten lead was poured into each section through the hole along the edge. What is this thing I found in my dad's collection? It appears to be cotton wrapped partially in burlap and secured with steel straps. Nothing is written on the green tag, and faintly on the burlap is written Hickman, Kentucky. My dad grew up in Hickman but was born in Union City. It isn't very heavy, maybe 6 ounces, which is why I think the inside is just compressed cotton sheets, but they're fairly crude. Any ideas? It's a mid-century souvenir bale of cotton. It is wrapped in burlap and fastened with metal straps. I'm a vintage reseller. I've sold several old ones. Really neat. My grandfather asked me if I could find out what this was used for. He has lots of weird old things, but he is stumped with this one. He got it from an estate sale 10+ years ago. I have a video of it working if that would help. Any information about it would be much appreciated. It's a device for pitting cherries. Here's a 1960s German made, but yours is a much older version. It says it's a Kirschenendsteiner, which is German for cherry pitter. What are these thin glass vials containing yellow substances found in my deceased grandfather's garage? The voids at the end don't shift when tilted, so it's not behaving like an air bubble in liquid. The tips appear to be sealed glass, like it was stretched while in a molten state, and each vial has a different color. They were only stored in a relatively thin cardboard tube with a cap, so I'm assuming not something too dangerous otherwise. It would have been stored in something stronger. Any ideas? They are 1950s perfume nips. Here's the direction. Hold the nip horizontally at the center, then snap off both the slender ends. Tip the nip until one perfume drop flows onto a forefinger. Apply and repeat. What is this perforated aluminum ball? My mother-in-law found this at a charity store. She collects a lot of old kitchen utensils and homewares, but she has no idea what this is. It may be a kitchen utensil, but I'm not sure. It opens via a hinge and is about the size of my hand. Any ideas? It's a rice bowl from the 1930s to the 50s. Fill it halfway with uncooked rice, then place the rice bowl cooker into the boiling water. Make sure the chain stays outside the pot, and you cook it between 14 to 20 minutes. What is this thing I found at my grandparents' house? It has a faded writings on the bottom and unreadable, around 8 inches long with 2 prongs on the front and 4 spikes at the bottom. Any ideas? I have one of those. It's a Carvel Hall ham roast holder for holding a roast and serving the slices, made by Bridell of Crisfield, Maryland in the 1950s. What is this massive wagon thing found in the woods? It probably weighs 6 to 8 tons, around 15 to 20 feet long, and 6 feet tall at the high point. It looks like it may have been pulled behind a tractor or truck, and it has pulley-looking wheels up front. Maybe used to run fencing or cables back in the day. Any ideas? It's a Letourneau subsurface ripper. It would have been pulled by a dozer. It was patented on July 5, 1949 by Robert Gilmore Letourneau of Peoria, Illinois. If you want to dig up hard ground with a digger, you rip it first. It rakes deep and is meant for construction or breaking up rocky ground. What is this plumb line hand tool with a loop? The plumb fits perfectly in the hole in the loop. The handle is wooden, the loop looks to be brass, and the plumb is possibly lead. It was found among the tools from my late grandfather's workshop. My father suspected it might be a cup and ball game, but considering the weight of the plumb, that sounds like a recipe for a fractured wrist. Does anyone have a clue what this could be? It's a ball and ring apparatus. We had something like this in science class when I was a kid 50 years ago. These are used to demonstrate the thermal expansion and contraction of metals when heated and cooled. When the ball is cold, it can easily go through the ring. When you heat it up, it will expand and does not go through the ring. Expansion of materials by heat is one of the important factors engineers consider in making their designs of buildings, bridges, and machinery. Does anyone know anything about this keychain pistol? That's a European 5-cent coin for scale. It functions like shown. You can pull back the lever, and there's a tiny button on the side that unlocks the barrel. When the trigger is pulled, the hammer strikes. Does anyone have any information on the name of the toy, or where can these be bought? It's a 2mm pinfire pistol. It can shoot real projectiles. They were being made in the 1880s to the 1920s in Austria. However, many were reproduced in Japan from the 1950s to the present. I have a piece of lead permanently stuck in my palm because of one of those. What is this plier-handled tool with gear-toothed rollers turned by a wing crank at the top? It's about 6 inches long. All I have is this photo my wife sent me from an FB group, so all I know is what you can see here. I presume it's designed for sealing, crimping, or texturing something, but I couldn't find it on an image search. The jaws don't look like they would accommodate a very wide tube at all. Any ideas? It is used to ruffle the ribbons on old pillowcases from the 1950s. Here's one from the Esti Ortland Museum in Sweden. When I was with my friend in Stockholm, she taught me how to curl the ribbons for the pillowcase. I worked really hard, and it turned out this nice. This thing was owned by a relative in the 50s. It has mercury inside a glass globe with a hollow handle and no electrical or mechanical components. He was a chemist, and he was also allegedly a high-ranking Freemason, which will be either totally irrelevant or will possibly explain everything. This has been in my family for years and was always stored with family members' Freemason apron and gloves. I know literally nothing about Freemasonry, but I doubt I'm exposing any major secrets here. Does anyone know the use of this item? Please tell us down in the comments. Thanks for watching. Let's make life fun.